Good morning, everyone. This is My Binational Life, and that's the name that I changed since the last video. You may recognize this delantal, this, ¿cómo se llama en inglés? This apron. So I'm making today breakfast for my wife and I. We slept in again late on Sunday, which is not good for us. We always like to be out in activities. But anyway, we're going to prepare a ham and egg sandwich in pan Sobao, which is sweet bread from Puerto Rico. Sweet bread from Puerto Rico. I get these in Fiesta. And the first thing that I do, I make sure I take them out. They come with 2 loaves in the bag. They cost about $2.29 here in Texas. I'm not sure how much they would run in Puerto Rico. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper. Anyway, so the first thing that I do is I get all my ingredients together because, you know, I have to be organized. I can't have clutter, but I have to have everything in front of me. So first thing that I do, I get actually this one looks better. I get the bread out and I'm going to cut it in half, and we're just going to make one sandwich and store the other part. So that's the first thing that I do. And I'll get the wider end of the bread. See? And then I cut that in half, hopefully without cutting my fingers. All right, so this I'll put back. And I clean as I go, as I mentioned in my last video. I clean as I go. So the first thing I'm looking for is a twisted. Oh, here it is. My wife doesn't use these. I don't know why. She likes to just tie this thing up. But if there's a twisted, use it. It's just saying. Anyway. All right, so I'm done. So I'm done with the bread. What I'll do next is start the stove, get the frying pan hot so I can have some onions, because I like to saute my onions and then fry an egg. So whatever takes the longest, that's the one I start up first. So I'm going to start the stove, put some butter on it so I can have the sauteed buttery taste in my eggs. And I have this other butter here that's just going at room temperature so that I can make sure I can have something to spread on the bread without tearing it up. So that's why I have my butter knife here. So for frying one egg, I might make 2. I'll just put 1 small pat. You don't really need a lot. So now I'm not used to being wired up to this thing, so I don't want to knock over my camera. So I'll start that and then make sure this reaches. See, this is the wire. And start that, put it maybe at 6. Plug this. I forgot a lot of these names in English. I guess it's like a panini thing. They call it a plancha, or like an iron. But plancha for me is an iron in Spanish. So for this, whatever that word is in English, that's what it is. So I'm making sure that I have that heated. I'm going to put a pat of butter for each slice of bread so that when it's hot, it'll actually get ready. And it heats up pretty quickly. So I don't have to put that much butter, just enough for it to be absorbed. Okay, so I'm good with that. And this is the bread that I'll be using. So I'm actually going to put it in lengthwise so that it will work. I think this is enough for one sandwich, but we'll see. I'll make another one off camera. So basically what I do is I put it on the plancha, on the iron, and start that going, and then I'll start my onion, start cutting up my onion. And I'm using this nice new wood chopping block that my wife got me, and it didn't get me, she got us the wood chopping block, and it's really good. It's very sturdy, but you have to keep it treated with oil. So we have this mineral oil that we bought at Bed Bath & Beyond, and that way it will make sure that it stays in good condition, similar to the way that I keep my cast iron frying pan in good condition by keeping it oiled up so it doesn't rust. So while that's heating up, while the butter is melting, I will just basically cut an onion, and I don't really need a lot. I just need maybe 2 or 3 onion rings. And I slice them thin so that it's not overpowering. Okay, keep this there. This goes into the garbage. I just take the outer ring out, put that aside. What I should have is a camera above me looking down, but we don't have the production budget for that just yet. Okay, so I'll go do that. Let me rinse this skin off. Yeah, we're good. Usually I'll just cut it in half, so that way I can have something decent to put in the frying pan. So while that sautés, I can get my bread ready. It's very simple way of making a sandwich, but my method is I always saute my onions, and I always put the butter in the plancha, or I guess the panini maker. I don't know what they call it in English. This is what happens when you live in a binational house, especially when there's 2 languages. My wife is learning English, but the majority of the time we are speaking in Spanish. There we go. So that's sauteing. One more. Okay, so now I always like to put pepper on my eggs. So take out an egg right here. And usually I'll just do this, crack it open, and there you go. My thing is I'm hoping that this wire reaches so I don't knock off my camera. There we go. And I always keep my handy dandy spatula ready. I have to break the yolk. I cannot have the yolk whole. It's disgusting to me. So that goes in the garbage. This goes in the garbage. So while that's frying, I'll give you a preview. All right, so while that's going, yes. Yes. There. Then I put the ham, then the egg. So I use Kirkland lean ham. So we're almost out. All right, so I'm going to take the ham and put 2 slices, fold it over so that it fits on the bread, and make sure it expands the length of the bread. And then I'll put the egg, which should be done any second. There we go. There we go. Doesn't that look tasty? More pepper. And what I'll do while this is finishing, I'll actually start the prep work for my sandwich. So I always cook for my wife first, let her eat. While she's eating, then I will go ahead and make another sandwich. That's why I have this whole carton of eggs here. So this is the way I usually make mine. She does hers a little bit different, but that's okay. My version, I'll actually put more butter on the bread so that it will taste even better with the egg. So just add just a bit more butter on hers. Okay. Just to have some taste. All right. So now this is done. So I just put the egg on top of the ham, put the onions with the melted butter right there on top of the sandwich, so everything will be absorbed by the bread. There we go. I'll put that aside for now. Close this up, keeping track of which end is which. Use my spatula to lift it up. Put it back on the plancha, the panini maker. Put in the comment below, what is this thing called in English? I can't remember. I really can't. That's what happens when you switch languages all day. So, but anyway, what I normally do is I have my plate. I always prefer saucers because it makes you feel like you're eating more than you really are. And that's a psychological thing for anybody who's on a diet like myself. And of course, the butter's not helping. But that's basically it. That's basically it. So I'll include some more footage on what it looks like after it's done and see what my wife thinks about it. Ciao. Okay, so this is what I prepared for my wife, and this is what it looks like. Don't you just love it? I think she's gonna like it. She's actually recording me right now over there. Honey, this is for you.
Thank you, my love.
You're welcome. Let me think. This is how she likes it.
Nice.
So I'm giving this to her. Here you go, honey. And so while that's happening, I'm cooking my own version, so which I cut up because I like big chunks of onions. So I will do that here. Again, I'm wired up, and that's why I'm afraid to move. So this is cooking, my bread's going. This is for my sandwich. Okay. Now for the egg. There we go. Gotta smash that yolk. You're welcome, honey. Gotta smash that yolk. Put my pepper. So ladies, you want somebody that you can marry? Marry a man that can cook.
Delicious.
Marry a man that can cook.
I love you.
I love you too. So while that's going, I'm going to put more butter on my bread, which is going to look a little sad, but that's okay. She got the better sandwich. So she's using that for her YouTube channel, and I'm using this for mine. Right now I'm just putting a little bit more butter, and then I'll add the ham while my egg is getting ready to be turned over. Okay, so I like mine really buttery and moist. And that's basically how you make this sandwich. So she's actually recording her video for hers. I'm going to turn over this egg which looks a little sad because it was already hot. So just a little bit more. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to add the last of the ham. Now this is 3 slices, which, there you go, see? This will definitely never be a vegetarian household. Sorry guys, we like meat way too much. All right, so this will go on top of that. And what I'm doing is I'm folding it down so that you can see it. And I'll actually bring the camera over so you can see what it looks like. And that way the egg will go right on top of this once I flip it over. If it's not burning, that is. All right, so this is what it looks like. And right now I'm going to turn over the eggs so I can flip it over and put it on here. There we go. It's a little charcoaly, but that's okay. Put my pepper. It's actually done. I don't really have to put it back on the stove, but just to have that, put this away. This is for the garbage. So what I normally do, I reuse my containers. This is what I was going to put all the garbage in after I put out the water. See, let's just put all this in one spot. Save space and save trips to the garbage can, which is on the other side. Right here. See, that's all you got to do. The eggs will go back in the refrigerator, so I'll put that over here. This will go in the garbage. I'm done with the butter, so that will go back. And actually, this, whoops, is how much butter is left. So I'll put that on this little butter holder thing. Put this in the container. Turn off my stove. Put on the egg. Because I like to do things at the same time. So this will be mine. It's okay, that's a little burnt. But all the onions stuck, so that's good. So that I'll put in the sink. Put this on top. Put this back on the plancha. Close the plancha and wait for it to do its thing. And normally what I do for the onion, I put that in a Ziploc bag and save it for later. So all this goes in the garbage. So that's basically it. You're going to see the final product in just a moment. Okay, so now we are going to unplug la plancha, or whatever it's called in English. I think it's panini maker. So this is basically what I'm going to use here. The knife to keep it in place. And let's take a look. My wife is actually holding the camera. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
And what I normally do is I leave the plancha open so that it will cool off while it's unplugged. And now I'm going to cut my sandwich because I like mine cut a little bit differently than my wife's. So I usually will put a toothpick on either end to keep everything in place. And I will use this to cut it at an angle. Hold this in place, and then my knife. Sobao is very soft, so you don't have to, it's not like French bread, so it's very soft. Okay, so that's good. That keeps everything in place. Let me make sure I got the last of it. Yes, so it separates. Put that on the bread, on the saucer. Put this on the saucer. And we are good to go. And this we will clean and put the oil like I mentioned before. So this is my sandwich. And I'm about to have breakfast with my lovely wife. And I'm going to get my grape juice, my vitamins, and we're good to go. Thanks for watching.